This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
All right, and welcome to the GSMC Sports Podcast. This episode is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, and as always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. All right, I believe it's now Wednesday, March 28th. This is how the show is going to go today. All right, first up, we're going to be talking about yesterday's NBA games. Going to be recapping each game, giving the scores and stats for each. Second segment, we're going to talk about the Cowboys, all right? We're going to be talking about Dez Bryant. I mean, they brought in Allen Hurns. I believe they brought in a different receiver, too. So we're talking about the receiver additions and whether or not that still means that Dez Bryant has a safe little spot in the Dallas Cowboys, or maybe they could cut him still. And, of course, I mean, usually we see players get cut either right before free agency or, like, right before training camp. So Dez Bryant, if he was to be cut, I mean, it wouldn't be until later on. But it's going to be something we're going to be talking about in the second segment. Third segment, we're going to talk about the teams who are tanking right now, all right? We're going to talk about the teams right now who, like I said, are currently tanking, and we're going to just talk about which one is better set up to win in the near future. So which one has, I guess you could say, the best future, I guess, yeah, if that makes any sense. And then for the fourth segment, as we always do, we're going to talk about anything else going on in the world of sports, and we're going to be making my picks for tonight's NBA games, as we always do, all right? Then we got, 5 games going on tonight, so we'll be doing that. And like I said, talking about whatever else is going on in the world of sports. So let's get into it. First up, we had the San Antonio Spurs facing off with the Washington Wizards, and Washington won this one 116-106. For the Spurs, you had LaMarcus Aldridge with 13 points, 4 rebounds, shot 4-6 from the field. Kyle Anderson had 7 points, 3 rebounds. Patty Mills, 11 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, shot 4-7 from the field, 3-6 from the three-point line. Dejounte Murray had 6 points, 3 rebounds. Let's see, off the bench, you had Rudy Gay with 8 points, 5 rebounds, shot 3 of 8 from the field. Pau Gasol had 10 points, 6 rebounds, shot 4 of 10 from the field. And you had Brian Forbes with 12 points, 6 assists, shot 3 of 7 off the bench. For the Wizards, you had Markieff Morris with 15 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, shot 7 of 7 from the field, 1 of 1 from the three-point line in 17 minutes. Otto Porter had 14 points, shot 6 of 7, 2 of 2 from the three-point line. Bradley Beal had 7 points in this one, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, shot 3 of 8 from the field. Tomas Satoransky had 7 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 3 of 6 also. And then off the bench, you had Kelly Oubre Jr. with 12 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 4 of 9, 0 of 4 from the three-point line. You had Ramon Sessions with 12 points, 6 assists, shot 3 of 6. And then Jody Meeks with 13 points, shot 5 of 11, 2 of 5 from the three-point line. Nice little win for the Wizards here. I mean, Spurs are still a pretty good team in the West. Obviously not on the same level as a Rockets or Warriors team. I'm not even sure if you could consider them on the same level as the Trailblazers, but nonetheless, that's a pretty decent team there. And then Ramon Sessions and Jody Meeks still making their ways, finding their ways on NBA teams. And those are the guys, they're going to be like the Al Jeffersons when they get older. And I'm not even sure, because they're still playing pretty decent minutes, but eventually they're going to be the guys that you bring on to contenders that pretty much, young contenders that pretty much just shape up the locker room. Those are the kind of careers they're going to have, and I mean, those are the best kind of careers to have right there. As for the next game, you had the Denver Nuggets facing off with the Toronto Raptors, and Toronto won this one 114-110. For Denver, you had Paul Millsap with 20 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 9 of 12 from the field, 1 of 1 from the three-point line. Wilson Chandler, he had 7 points, 4 rebounds. Will Barton had 10 points, shot 4 of 15 from the field, 2 of 7 from the three-point line. Not a great night there. Nikola Jokic had 29 points, 16 rebounds, 8 assists, shot 11 of 21, 3 of 7 from the three-point line. Jamal Murray had 15 points, 4 rebounds, shot 3 assists, shot 6 of 18, 2 of 7 from the three-point line. Off the bench, you had Trey Lyles with 13 points, 5 rebounds. For the Raptors, you had Serge Ibaka with 13 points, 6 rebounds, shot 6 of 11, 1 of 4 from the three-point line. Jonas Valanciunas had 15 points, 7 rebounds, shot 6 of 10. Kyle Lowry had 11 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, shot 4 of 10 from the field, 3 of 6 from the three-point line. DeMar DeRozan had 15 points, 8 assists, shot 7 of 12 from the field. And then off the bench, you had Fred VanVleet with 15 points, 4 assists, shot 5 of 7, 3 of 4 from the three-point line. Kyle Lowry's been kind of having, I guess you could say, a down year. Not as good as he's been I guess you can say in the last few years, I guess. But I don't know. With Kyle Lowry, like that's the X factor on the Raptors right now. If he doesn't step up, especially in the playoffs, then they really have no chance. I understand that you do have a solid bench now, but it's just a matter of you're always going to need your top players to step up when it matters most. So we'll see about it. But either way, I still like the Raptors going forward. Still the best team in the East, and it's not really close. The Celtics are a team who are still 3.5 games back of the Raptors right now. So I mean, it pretty much depend on if they were to get the first seed. Pretty much depend on the Raptors going on a little bit of a skid, but I just don't really see that happening. And as for the Denver Nuggets, looking more and more likely that they won't be making the playoffs this year unless Utah drops a couple of games and Denver puts a couple of good games together. But it's just a matter of maybe it's just too early for them to be making playoffs. But as for the next game, we had the Cleveland Cavaliers facing off with the Miami Heat, and Miami won this one 98-79 for the Cleveland Cavaliers. You had Jeff Green with 5 points, 4 rebounds, shot 2 of 10 from the field, 0 of 4 from the three-point line. LeBron had 18 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, shot 7 of 18, 0 of 4 from the three-point line. Kevin Love only played 7 minutes in this one, only had 1 point. Jose Calderon had 11 points, shot 4 of 8 from the field. Off the bench, you had Larry Nance with only 4 points, 10 rebounds in this one. Let's see, Tristan Thompson had 6 points, 13 rebounds. And then you had Jordan Clarkson, 11 points, shot 5 of 13, 1 of 3 from the three-point line. Not great there. And then you had Rodney Hood with 15 points, 3 rebounds, shot 6 of 13, 2 of 5 from the three-point line. For the Heat, you had James Johnson. He had 15 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 7 of 11 from the field. Josh Richardson had 15 points, 7 rebounds. Goran Dragic had 10 points, 5 assists, shot 4 of 8 from the field, 2 of 4 from the three-point line. And then off the bench, you had Kelly Olynyk with a pretty good shooting night here, 7 of 9 from the field, 3 of 4 from the three-point line, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Justice Winslow had 7 points, 9 rebounds, and then you had Dwayne Wade with 12 points, 4 assists, shot 5 of 11, 0 of 1 from the three-point line off the bench. I didn't get to watch this game or anything like that, but I saw some highlights. I saw Dwayne Wade had a pretty nice block on LeBron James, and you don't really see people blocking LeBron too often. Usually it's LeBron blocking someone else, but nonetheless, Dwayne Wade probably one of the best shot blocking guards of all, probably the best shot blocking guard of all time, honestly. And as for the Cavs, I mean, this game was pretty easy to predict, honestly. All right, the Cavs don't play defense. Miami plays very good defense, so obviously we know what was going to happen here. All right. Cavs only scored 79. They couldn't limit Miami, so they gave up 98. That's just how it goes right there. But either way, I mean, the Cavs, I think, should still be the 3 seed right now, if not the 4 seed, unless they are tied with Philly. I have to let me see if I can double check that real quick. It's kind of curious to see if the Cavs end up finishing 4th, and I think that's way better for the Celtics than it would be anyone else, and it'd be a little bit more difficult for the Raptors just because of the fact that you don't want to see the Cavs in the second round. You want to wait till you can the last possible moment, I guess, to play them. And as of right now, the Cavs are currently a half game up on Philly. A half game up on Indiana, too. So the Cavs really got to pull it together. If not, I mean, they're going to drop a couple of spots. But either way, with Miami, they're currently the 7th spot. They'd be playing Boston in the playoffs since the season ended today. They're a half game up on Milwaukee. So going to be real interesting to see how the seeding ends in the East. All right, and as for the next game, we had the Chicago Bulls facing off with the Houston Rockets, and no James Harden, but there was no problem here. The Rockets won this one, 118-86. For the Bulls, you had Lauri Markkanen with 22 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 8 of 15 from the field. Cameron Artis-Payne had only 2 points, 8 rebounds, shot 1 of 7, and 0 of 5 from the three-point line. Justin Holiday had 5 points, 2 rebounds, shot 2 of 8 from the field, 1 of 6 from the three-point line. Off the bench, you had Bobby Portis with 11 points, 8 rebounds. Denzel Valentine, he had 12 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 5 of 12. And then you had Sean Kilpatrick with 12 points, 2 rebounds, shot 5 of 9, 1 of 4 from the three-point line. For the Rockets, you had Trevor Ariza with 21 points, 6 rebounds, shot 6 of 12 from the field, 4 of 10 from the three-point line. PJ Tucker had 9 points, 8 rebounds, shot 4 of 9 from the field. Chris Paul, 13 points, 10 assists, 4 rebounds, shot 4 of 12. Eric Gordon got the start for James Harden in this one, 31 points, shot 11 of 17, 8 of 13 from the field, or from the three-point line, I should say. And then off the bench, you had Gerald Green with 14 points, 7 rebounds, shot 4 of 14 from the field, 1 of 9 from the three-point line. And then Joe Johnson had 10 points, 5 assists, shot 4 of 9 there. Like I said, no James Harden, also no Clint Capella, all right? Didn't play yesterday, out with a left thumb injury. Rockets right now just got to stay healthy, pretty much. Don't want to go into that little injury bug, I guess, driven team that like the Warriors are here. So the Rockets can stay healthy. I mean, there's nothing really to worry about. I'm sure with the whole James Harden thing, it's just a matter of just giving him rest. But like I said, the Rockets won this one, 118-86. Not really much to say here for the Bulls. I mean, they're not a very good team. Rockets should be winning games like this. Like I said, just nothing really new here. Rockets still the number 1 team in the West right now as far as seeding goes. So we'll see how it goes in the playoffs. But either way, next game we had the Portland Trail Blazers facing off with the New Orleans Pelicans. Almost want to call them the Hornets. But yeah, Yeah, the Trailblazers facing off with the Pelicans in New Orleans, and Portland won this one 107-103. For Portland, you had Al-Farouq Aminu with 10 points, 10 rebounds, shot 3 of 13, 2 of 10 from the three-point line. Evan Turner got the start in this one. 14 points, 6 rebounds, shot 5 of 10, 2 of 3 from the three-point line. Joseph Nurkic had 21 points, 10 rebounds, shot 10 of 14. Damian Lillard, big game from him, 41 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, shot 8 of 13 from the field, 3 of 9 from the three-point line. CJ McCollum struggled mightily in this one. 3 of 19 from the field, 1 of 6 from the three-point line, 7 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds. And then for the Pelicans, you had Anthony Davis with 36 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 15 of 24 from the field. Etuan Moore had 11 points, 7 assists, shot 5 of 12. Emeka Okafor played 15 minutes in this one, had 6 points, 9 rebounds, and they had Drew Holiday with a triple-double, 21 points, 11 assists, 11 rebounds, shot 9 of 17, 0 of 2 from the three-point line, and you have Ian Clark coming off the bench to start for Rajon Rondo in this one. He had 8 points, 2 assists, shot 4 of 11, 0 of 3 from the three-point line. I'm starting to notice as the years go by, triple-doubles, like, almost anyone can get a triple-double, I feel. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Drew Holiday. It's just a matter of, we never really, triple-double used to be something where if a player got it on any night, it was like a story, right? Because it was entirely difficult to get a triple-double, but now you got guys like Russell Westbrook who averaged a triple-double all season last year. LeBron pretty much puts up a triple-double every other game it feels. Rajon Rondo was pretty much a triple-double machine with the Celtics, and then just like you got centers putting up triple-doubles like Nikola Jokic, and then Drew Holiday like right here putting up a triple-double, and it's just not a story anymore. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. Like a guy like Drew Holiday, you never really think was a guy that can go out and put up triple-double numbers, but either way he did here, and like I said, no one's really talked about it. It's just not a big story anymore when the player gets a triple-double. But like I said, for this one, you had the Portland Trailblazers winning 107-103. Let's check the West standings right now. Portland should still be in third, no doubt about it. They are 2.5 games up of the Thunder, and the Pelicans are a game back of the Thunder for the 4th seed. So we'll see how it all shakes up. Both, I think we got a pretty good idea as to who's making the playoffs in both conferences, but now it's just a matter of seeding. Like with the Clippers, they're only a game and a half back of the Timberwolves. The Nuggets are currently 2 games back, so the Clippers are starting to make a little bit of a run, starting to creep up on the Timberwolves, and that'd be such a shame if the Timberwolves didn't make the playoffs this year just because of the fact that Jimmy Butler got hurt. But either way, for the next game, we have the Dallas Mavericks facing off with the Sacramento Kings, and Dallas won this one 103-97. For the Mavericks, we had Harrison Barnes with 20 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, shot 6 of 12 from the field, 3 of 7 from the three-point line. Dirk Nowitzki had 5 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 2 of 9 from the field, 1 of 7 from the three-point line. Dennis Smith Jr. had 19 points, 6 assists, shot 6 of 12, 3 of 6 from the three-point line. Off the bench, actually, Andrew Harrison got the start, or is it Aaron Harrison? I think it's Aaron Harrison got the start in this one. 10 points, 5 rebounds, shot 3 of 8, 2 of 7 from the three-point line. Nice little game from him. And then off the bench, you had Doug McDermott. Nice shooting game from him. 6 of 7 from the field, 3 of 4 from the three-point line, 5 rebounds, 15 points. For the Sacramento Kings, you had Skal Labissière with 19 points, 8 rebounds, shot 8 of 15 from the field. Justin Jackson had 10 points, 8 rebounds. Willie Cauley-Stein, 13 points, 6 rebounds. De'Aaron Fox struggled in this one, 2 of 10 from the field, 5 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds. Bogdan Bogdanovic, had 10 points, 3 rebounds, shot 4 of 7. And off the bench, you had Kosta Koufis with 15 points, 7 rebounds. Frank Mason had 8 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Shot 1 of 13, just a poor shooting night from him, obviously. And then you had Buddy Hield with 14 points, shot 6 of 15, 2 of 7 from the three-point line. No Zach Randolph in this one. Did not play because coach's decision. All right. We had the Indiana Pacers facing off with the Golden State Warriors, and Indiana won this one 92-81. For the Pacers, you had Thaddeus Young with 17 points, 10 rebounds. Bojan Bogdanovic had 17 points in this one. Miles Turner only 5 points, 3 rebounds. Darren Collison only 3 points in this one, and then you had Victor Oladipo with 24 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, shot 9 of 12 from the field, 2 of 3 from the three-point line. For the Warriors, no KD, no Steph, no Clay, no Draymond. All right, you had Zaza Pachulia with 4 points, only 2 rebounds in 12 minutes. Jordan Bell had 4 points, 7 rebounds. Quinn Cook, 11 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Nick Young had 12 points, 3 rebounds. And then you had Patrick McCaw with 6 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Like I said, the Warriors lost this one 92-81. With the Warriors, when you're out, you have the top 4 guys on your team out, you're most likely going to lose. So no big story there. And as for the Pacers, like I said, still a game back of the, or a half game back of the Cavs, I believe, for that 3 seed. All right, then for the final game of the night, like I said, the Clippers are starting to make a run. They knocked off the Milwaukee Bucks 105-98. For the Bucks, you had Giannis Antetokounmpo with 26 points, 9 rebounds, shot 10 of 16 from the field. Let's see, you had Chris Middleton with 22 points, 7 rebounds, shot 7 of 17, 3 of 7 from the three-point line. John Henson had 8 points, 8 rebounds. Eric Bledsoe, 14 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, shot 6 of 10 from the field. Jason Terry had 10 points, shot 4 of 7, 2 of 5 from the three-point line. And then for the Clippers, you had Tobias Harris with 19 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, shot 8 of 17 from the field, 3 of 6 from the three-point line. Wesley Johnson had 9 points in this one. DeAndre Jordan, 12 points, 16 rebounds. Austin Rivers had 13 points in this one. And then off the bench, you had Montrezl Harrell with 6 points, 3 rebounds. And then Lou Williams had 16 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Shot 5 of 16, 1 of 4 from the three-point line. It'd be quite something, I guess, if the Clippers were to somehow make it into the playoffs because of the fact that they traded away Blake Griffin and got rid of Chris Paul earlier in the offseason. So I guess it'd be a nice little success story for them if they made the playoffs this season. They very well could. I mean, the Timberwolves really haven't been playing great basketball without Jimmy Butler, so it's going to be interesting to see. But that's going to wrap it up for this segment. Next up, we're going to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys, Dez Bryant, and anything else that has to do with that. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines, they got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. In that first segment, we talked about all the NBA games that went on yesterday, recapped them, gave out the scores and the stats, and talked a bit about a few of the teams. So we did that for the first segment, and for this one, we're going to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys, all right? Obviously, we know that with Dez Bryant, there's been the whole thing, are the Cowboys going to end up keeping him? Are they going to cut him because of all they got to pay and he hasn't really produced? Or is it, like I said, are they going to keep him? And I guess right now, it seems like they're on the side of keeping him. That's what's been talked about, I guess you could say. Jason Garrett has come out and said they have no plans of cutting him or anything like that. But it's just a matter of, you brought in a guy like Allen Hurns. You brought in a guy like Deontay Thompson. All right, Deontay Thompson's not really that big of a name, but Allen Hurns can go out and produce. All right, that's a number 2 receiver right there. Possibly a number 1 if you were to ever get back to that one season he had with Jacksonville where he scored, I think it was 15 touchdowns. It was at least 10 touchdowns, 1,000 yards at least. I know that. But either way, like I said, they bring those guys in. You already have Terrence Williams. You have Cole Beasley. All right, and I think you have Ryan Switzer, I think his name is, plus Dez Bryant. I think I just named off, 6 receivers? Possibly 7. I can't remember exactly how many I just named, but either way, you have that many receivers. All right. Someone's getting cut. Someone is. Allen Hurns, you're not going to keep him on the bench. All right. Cole Beasley, that's your slot receiver. Now it just comes down to, are we cutting Terrence Williams or are we cutting Dez Bryant? All right. If Jason Garrett came out and said that these wide receiver moves don't really have any effect on Dez, as far as their plans with, they're not about Dez Bryant. All right. And I don't really believe that. I've come to know that coaches, GMs, owners, players for that matter, what they say isn't always the truth. All right, there's more to it rather than this player is on the team. All right, that's one thing. That's a perfect thing too. All right, people ask, is this player going to be getting cut, or is that something that's thought about? And the coaches will go out and say they'll state a fact. He's currently on the team under contract, and they'll leave it at that. All right, but that's not saying that we're thinking about it. Obviously, yeah, he's under contract, but it's just a matter of, are you thinking about cutting him, or are you going to keep him? And right now with the Cowboys, like I said, someone's getting cut. Someone is not safe on this Dallas Cowboys team. The reason why they're bringing in these receivers is to get rid of someone. It's just a matter of who. All right, like I said, is it Terrence Williams? Is it Dez Bryant? Is it Cole Beasley? It's not Ryan Switzer. All right, and with the Cowboys, I feel like it's just a matter of, if Dak Prescott is your franchise quarterback, and that's the guy you want to roll with for the future, you pretty much got to put the guys that he feels most comfortable with out there. All right. And with Dez Bryant, it just seems like Dak hasn't really, I guess, just always seen eye to eye with Dez Bryant. Not like saying like there's any tension or anything like that, but it's just a matter of they haven't really connected. Like from what I've seen so far in the media, from them talking and stuff like that. Like with Tony Romo and Dez Bryant, you always knew that they were a good little combo right there. Tony Romo wasn't afraid to get it to Dez, and Dez wasn't afraid to go up and get it. All right, with Dak Prescott, my comparison for him is Alex Smith. All right, Alex Smith, and even like probably the older a couple years ago, Alex Smith, like not last year's Alex Smith, because last year, I mean, Alex Smith was out there taking chances, throwing deep balls and all that. But we've known Alex Smith to be a quarterback who doesn't really take too many chances. All right, isn't going to go deep too much, isn't going to really throw any interceptions or anything like that. That's Dak Prescott, I feel, honestly. Dak Prescott isn't going to throw down the field too much. I don't even know if he has an arm good enough to throw that far down the field. All right, he's going to hit his checkdowns. He's going to hit the short route receivers, and he's not going to turn the ball over. He's not going to take chances either. All right, that's one thing with Dez Bryant is Dez Bryant is a guy where if you want to have him be his most productive, then you got to take chances. You got to throw the ball up in there for him to go get it, kind of like how Tony Romo did. All right, that's one thing why I think Dez Bryant and Dak Prescott really haven't seen or connected or seen eye to eye really is because of the fact that Dak Prescott's not going to try and favor Dez. Dak Prescott is going to try and do what's best. I don't want to say for the team because that kind of makes it seem like there is a problem, but it's just a matter of Dak Prescott's not trying to take chances that'll hurt the team, I guess you could say. And like I said, those chances would be throwing the ball deep to Dez, throwing it up for him to go up, get it over the corner or something like that. All right, Dak Prescott is a safe quarterback. He doesn't take chances whatsoever. And, I mean, we've seen in press conferences, too. I remember one where I think it was a play in a game where Dak threw a ball to Dez Bryant. It hits him in the helmet, and he either drops it or it gets picked off, all right? Like it deflects off Dez Bryant, and it gets picked off, and like I said, he dropped it. And I think after the game, for the post-conference, I think it was Dak Prescott saying that he should have hit Dez in the chest rather than hitting him right in the face. All right, you could obviously tell there was some frustration with what he was saying, and that it's like pretty much like there's nothing I can do. I mean, I put the ball right there for Dez, and he just couldn't catch it. And that's one thing, too, with Dez Bryant is he's always had a problem, especially this past season, I think he's had a problem with drops. All right, but like I said, with Dez Bryant, it's just a matter of do you want to pay a guy who just really hasn't produced the way you know he can since Tony Romo left, $14 million or so? I think it's like $14 or $16 million, all right? So he's getting paid that much. Do you want to do that, or do you want to cut him and go with the other guys you brought in? Because with Dez Bryant, it's just not a matter of the production. It's the matter of the sideline outbursts, whether he's yelling at coaches, whether he's yelling at players, all right? And I know after games we hear the whole, oh, yeah, I wasn't yelling at the players or anything like that. I was trying to get them fired up. But we all know whenever we've seen a player yelling on the sideline at someone, it usually isn't that good. We've seen it from Terrell Owens. I mean, Tom Brady yells at his players. There's just always something, all right? It is what it is, but it's a matter of do you want to pay that man all that money, all right? And the Cowboys, honestly, I've said it before and I'll say it now. If they were to cut a guy like Dez Bryant, that's not going to really affect the wins and losses part of your season. All right, Dez Bryant doesn't equal to wins. Dez Bryant doesn't equal to losses. Okay, he can go out and have a big game and help you win, but it's just a matter of they can cut him, and I don't think that'd have any real effect on what I think about him going into this season or what anyone else does, honestly. If anything, that just give some other team a nice little free agent option in Dez Bryant. All right, because with the Cowboys right now, I mean, you're going to have Ezekiel Elliott back for most of the season. All right, last year it was just a matter of he would miss 6 games, and they struggled without him. All right, Dak Prescott isn't the same quarterback he is without Ezekiel Elliott. You need Ezekiel Elliott back there to pretty much keep the defense honest and not have so many players in the secondary out there. With Zeke Elliott, you're going to have to stack the box a bit, and that gives Dak Prescott more opportunities to go out and complete some passes. All right, without Ezekiel Elliott, you can pretty much zone in on Dak Prescott, and he's going to struggle. And that's kind of where I think they're going to do better this season because of the fact you're going to have Zeke all year. All right, Dak Prescott isn't a bad quarterback by any means, but he's a guy who needs other players to help him play better, and I guess that goes without saying because of the fact that I feel most players need better players around them in order for them to do the job the best. All right, but either way, like I said, with the Cowboys, it's just a matter of I think honestly this year they'd probably be they're probably the second best team in the East right now in the NFC East. The Giants are still got to figure out what's going on with them. The Redskins are, I guess, would say the fourth team in the NFC East as of right now, but it's just a matter of maybe Alex Smith can go out and play as well as he did for the Chiefs with the Redskins. And if he does that, the Redskins are going to be a nice little scary team. And obviously the top team in that division is the Eagles. Okay, we're not going to change off of that or anything like that. Right now, they're still this defending Super Bowl champions, and there's no reason to knock them off. But like with the Cowboys, I think they could go easily 10-6, like from 9-7 to 12-4, I guess is their little window for this season. All right. And that's, I guess you could say, with or without Dez Bryant, it doesn't matter. They could cut Dez Bryant. I'm not going to be like, oh, they're not going to do as well this season. Because of the fact that he's not putting up number one receiver numbers. He's putting up number 2, number 3 numbers, I feel. All right? More so number 2 than number 3. Number 3 might be a little bit harsh, but it's just a matter of you can get that production out of someone else for cheap. For cheaper. You know? The NFL, obviously, it's a business. The owners, the GMs are always going to try and pay as little as they can, but get as much production as they can. All right? And that's what you get with Dez Bryant. You cut Dez Bryant, you insert someone in there to pretty much take up his numbers. And a guy like Allen Hurns could do that. Let me see real quick what Dez Bryant's numbers looked like last season. And I don't think he even had over 1,000 yards or anything like that. If he did, I'd be actually really surprised. Let me see real quick. So this season, he had 838 yards, 69 receptions, 6 touchdowns. Not great, all right? And Allen Hurns, I'm sure his numbers are a little bit down because of the fact that he just wasn't getting the ball a lot with Blake Bortles. But let me see what his stats look like this year. All right, so this year, Allen Hurns had 39 receptions, 484 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think his big year was, it was in 2015 where he had 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. Since then, hasn't gotten over 500. But I still do think that you can get with Dez, what I say with Dez. He had 838 yards, 69 receptions. I still think you could get that from Allen Hurns if you were to cut Dez and make Allen Hurns your number one receiver, okay? Because like I said, you want your number one receiver hitting over 1,000 yards, near 100 catches, probably around at least from 80 to 100 catches. And I guess the touchdowns numbers are looking all right for Dez, but that's it, just all right. Usually want around, 7 to 9 touchdowns from your number one receiver, and you're just not getting that, all right? So like I said, if the wins and losses aren't really affected from a guy like Dez Bryant getting cut, then I say, yeah, go ahead, make Allen Hurns your number one receiver. That's going to be the cheaper option anyways, and I'm sure he'll produce just as much as Dez Bryant did. Because like with Dak Prescott, even last year, Dez Bryant had less receptions, less yards, 2 more touchdowns. He had 50 receptions, 796 yards. So I guess this past year was a step up, but now it's just a matter of you're paying a guy $16 million to not hit over 1,000 yards or 80 receptions. All right. So I guess with the Cowboys, it's just a matter of who you're going to cut. Like I said, it's going to be Dez Bryant or it's going to be Terrence Williams, and it'll probably be by mid-June when those guys get cut. So we'll see about it. But like I said, it just doesn't make sense to have a guy like Allen Hurns coming off as the 4th receiver because Cole Beasley is going to be the guy in the slot. So we'll see how it all ends up. With the Cowboys, it's going to be tough for them because of the fact that you play in a tough division and you play in a tough conference. The NFC is going to be very good this season. But like I said, Dez Bryant doesn't really equal wins or losses for that team. So that's going to wrap it up for this segment. Next up, we're going to be talking about the tanking teams in the NBA right now. We're going to talk about each of them and talk about which team currently is better set to start winning soon. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, and welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. So far today, we've talked about yesterday's NBA games, had a bunch of good ones going on. I think it was, the Toronto Raptors that ended up beating the Denver Nuggets yesterday. I think it wasn't they played against each other, and we had a couple of other ones. Miami knocked off the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think they won that one 98-79. Cleveland just I don't know, they struggle against teams who play good defense. So that's one thing I'm kind of worried about come playoff time for them. But, I mean, when you got LeBron, it doesn't really matter. So we'll see. Can't count Cleveland out yet or anything like that. So for this segment, we're going to be talking about the teams who are tanking, talk about who has the best future, who could start winning the soonest. All right, so let's get into it. Right now, I guess you could say, I mean, let's talk about the Lakers first. All right, the Lakers, that's a team I'm not really going to put into this little conversation. All right, because right now the Lakers, I don't think they're not tanking right now. All right, they're not sitting guys like Lonzo Ball. They're not sitting Brandon Ingrams or anything like that. They're trying to go out and win games. They realize now that they got the. I don't want to say that they got. Well, even like just the thing with the Lakers is that they don't even have their first round pick this season. I think if it's 2 through 5, somehow it would go to the Celtics, which it's not going to be 2 through 5. And then anything else, it'd go to the 76ers. So maybe it's just the Lakers. We don't have a first round pick, so what's the point? Let's just go out and try win some ball games and try and get some free agents. Because I think now it's just a matter of they got the draft part. All right, you got Lonzo Ball, you got Julius Randle, you got Ingram, you got Kuzma. Okay, that's a solid 4 players right there. Now it's a matter of adding the veterans and free agency, the top guys, to go out and put the final touches on this team. And I guess that's where LeBron and Paul George come in. But like I've said before, and I'll say it now, I don't want to see LeBron and Paul George play on that team. I think as of right now, like next season, just by how I've seen the team play this season, I think the Lakers next year could be like the Denver Nuggets, fine for a playoff spot. Right now, it's like the Lakers, they're just not there yet. Their team is competing, playing well, but it's just they're not good enough yet to make the playoffs. So I say you keep the young core you got now. All right, maybe if DeAndre Jordan opts out of his contract, you bring him in, and then you wait for Anthony Davis or Giannis Antetokounmpo in 2019 when I believe they'll both be free agents. All right, that would be my plan. I like LeBron. I think bringing in LeBron would be a nice little, would be a great addition, obviously. But it's just a matter of would he want to play with Alonzo Ball just because of the fact that you're going to be having LeVar Ball open in his mouth, and you're going to be having ESPN pretty much writing down any little thing that he says and trying to create some controversy with it, because that's just because what ESPN does now. All right. And with Paul George, I'm like, you got Brandon Ingram, you got Kyle Kuzma, you got Julius Randle. Paul George can't play the 2. Okay, this isn't 2K or anything like that. It just won't happen. So now it's a matter of you're probably going to have to get rid of one of those 3 guys, and I'm more inclined to think that you're probably just going to let a guy like Randle go. But Randle's a guy who's been playing really well this season, and I'm not sure that the Lakers would be smart to let him go. All right, he's been a very good player, and I think they're better off with those 3 guys rather than going out and bringing in a Paul George. All right. Paul George he's in the middle of his prime right now, but Brandon Ingram is looking like a guy who could become maybe a little future Kevin Durant. I'm not saying he's going to be just as good, but their games are similar. Kyle Kuzma is a guy who shoots the ball well, and then, like I said, Julius Randle has been having a big season for the Lakers, so it's just a matter of, I say you re-sign Julius Randle, pay him, and I doubt Julius Randle is going to get a max deal, but either way, you pay him whatever he wants, and if you could bring LeBron's and keep Lonzo, then do that, but if not, stick to the plan, stick with the younger guys, and then like I said, go after DeAndre Jordan if he opts out, and then in 2019 is when you go for the top players like Giannis or Anthony Davis. All right, like I said, Lakers aren't a team that's trying to tank, so we're not really going to put them in this whole little, I guess, quote-unquote teams who are tanking, who could play, who are the closest to winning, I guess you could say. Let's see what other teams have kind of taken themselves out of that. It's like the Charlotte Hornets are like the team, like kind of like the Lakers of the East, except the Lakers are better than the Hornets, I believe. It's just with the Hornets, it's just they're not a good team. All right, they're not trying to tank or anything like that. You got Kemba Walker, who's playing all right. I mean, they're 6 games back of the, or actually 5.5 back of the Milwaukee Bucks for that A spot, and I highly doubt that Charlotte makes a run to get them up there. But with Charlotte, it's a matter of, I mean, you got Dwight Howard, you got Kemba Walker, and it's just you guys can't win games. You just don't have a solid team. So like I said, Charlotte isn't a team who I'd consider tanking or anything like that. So the teams we're going to be talking about are the Atlanta Hawks, Orlando Magic, Chicago Bulls, New York Knicks, and then in the West, you got the Kings, Dallas Mavericks, Grizzlies, and Suns, okay? Let's start off. We're going to talk about each team, and then I'll pretty much... we're going to talk about a bunch of teams, and then, like I said, we'll get into who I think is the closest to winning, like actually doing something good. All right, so let's start off with the Hawks, all right? You got Dennis Schroeder, you got John Collins. Everyone else is pretty much, dare I say it, just replaceable, okay? Kent Bazemore isn't the guy that you're going to build your team with, all right? Dwayne Dedmon, I guess, can be a nice little centerpiece, meaning playing the center position. And everything else is just a matter of you got to get rid of. All right, they have no future with the team. Chances are they won't even be with the Hawks within the next 3 years. All right, the Hawks right now, like I said, you got Schroeder as your starting point guard. You got John Collins, who's looking pretty good. And then you got Dedmon. That's 3 players. Still need a whole team to build around. I think right now they are currently, let me check the standings real quick. They should have like, let's see, they're currently the worst team in the East, 21-53. Compared to the West, they have the 3rd worst record in the league. Okay. So with the Hawks, I think it's just a matter of you're probably going to have a top 3 pick. You're going to have possibly your choice of DeAndre Ayton, Michael Porter Jr., Marvin Bagley, and Luka Doncic. All right. If Luka Doncic is as good as everyone has said and is the next best European point guard, all right, player from Europe, then I say if you're the Hawks, and that's tough too because of the fact that I still think that the Hawks do have Dennis Schroeder under contract for a while. So I guess Doncic, and the NBA is kind of weird because of the fact that the NBA, you take the best player available. It doesn't matter who's there or what. If you can get the best player on the board, then you do that. But if I'm the Hawks, I'm trying to get Ayton. If he falls to me, that's who my pick would be. And even then, so you got a guy like Marvin Bagley who could play the forward positions. You could still keep a guy like Dedmon. You'd have, well, even then, so you got John Collins. So I guess Bagley, if he could work on a shot a little bit more, and maybe you could move him to the 3, that'd work. But it's just a matter of, I just don't see Bagley really being a real fit with the Hawks unless he gets a shot a little bit better. All right. So with the Hawks, as far as winning soon, they're going to be bad for a couple more years, and they got a whole lot more rebuilding to go. If anything, I think Michael Porter Jr. is a perfect fit for the Hawks because of the fact that he can score all 3 ways, and that's what you need right there. You need a 3 guard for the Hawks. So we'll see about that. Let's see who else we got going on. Let's talk about the Orlando Magic. Okay. Drafted Jonathan Isaac this year. Got Aaron Gordon on the team, but he's going to be a restricted free agent. All right, you got rid of Elfrid Payton. Evan Fournier still on the squad. And you got guys like Bismack Biyombo and all that. The Magic aren't very close, I think, to taking the next step and becoming a team who tries to win instead of tanking every year. All right, the Magic just aren't a good team, and I think with them, they're currently 22-51, so they're a game and a half back, I guess you could say, of Atlanta for the worst record. Let's see, they're 22-51, so they'd have the 4th worst record in the league right now. And it's just with the Magic. It's kind of like with the Sacramento Kings. With the Sacramento Kings, I guess you could say, are starting to make progress, and you could tell that progress just because you've been watching them. But with the Magic, it's just a matter of you still got a whole lot of holes you got to fill, okay? I'm not sure if Jonathan Isaac is going to be a franchise player for that team. All right, Aaron Gordon could very well be on his way out if someone pays him enough, and the Magic don't want to match the offer. All right, you got Nikolai Vucevic, who's been a pretty solid player, but doesn't really translate to wins or losses. Wins right there. All right, so with the Magic, it's just a matter of, I'm not sure, honestly. It's just like that front office, I feel, has kind of set them back year after year. They really haven't been good since Dwight Howard left. And they've been pretty much, I guess they've been looking for the next Dwight Howard. Not necessarily a center who could dominate, but just that guy to take over and pretty much change the franchise there. So with the Magic, it's just a matter of, they got a whole lot more they're doing. So I don't see them winning anything anytime soon. Let's head over to Chicago. Chicago's a team that could be winning pretty soon if they were to land the right pick. And that'd be pretty much just like getting a guy like Trae Young or Colin Sexton and hoping that they're a very good point guard. All right, because even with then, you got Zach LaVine who plays the point guard position, I think. But I think you can move Zach LaVine to the 2 spot. I think before he used to play the 2 spot with Minnesota. You got Denzel Valentine, who I think is a nice little solid role player off the bench. Lauri Markkanen looks like a stud. That was a very good pick for the Bulls this year. All right, and you got Bobby Portis, who could be a 6-man also there. I think, am I missing anyone else? You got Chris Dunn also, and I think that's true too right there. I mean, it's just a matter of what are you going to do? You got 2 guards, you got Dunn and you got LaVine, but I feel like Colin Sexton or Trae Young would be a better option than Chris Dunn. Colin Sexton more so than Trae Young. I think Trae Young is a better fit on the Knicks, and we'll talk about the Knicks in a second, but like I said, with Colin Sexton to the Bulls, it's just a matter of you're getting a De'Aaron Fox there. All right, and it's not like you think Colin Sexton to be the best player or anything like that. You already got Lauri Markkanen, who I think is going to be a franchise-changing player for that team. He's got to develop a little bit more, and I think he's averaging like 14 and 8 this season, so that's pretty solid there. But either way, with the Bulls, I think they're close to. I think they got like 2 more years of tanking. I guess this year and including next year. So I guess those are the 2 years right there of tanking before we could start seeing them pull off big wins or anything like that, being competitive. I mean, they started off the season competitive, but I guess they just kind of realized, we need to tank, so stop there. But I think they got 2 more years left. All right. Then you got the New York Knicks, like I said. The New York Knicks, I mean, we're pretty decent with Kristaps Porzingis before he tore his knee. Now it's just like he tore it, so now we're back to square one. And with the Knicks, I think you got to go out and you got to get a Trae Young. Okay, you get Trae Young. That's a guy who could shoot the ball well, and you could have him defer to Kristaps Porzingis, obviously. But even then, so you're finally going to have a decent starting point guard. All right, Frank Ntilikina could be something, but it's just a matter of we're not going to find out this year whether it is or whether he is or whether he isn't. All right, it's just a matter of the dude's been hitting the rookie wall all year and just can't score really. And I just haven't seen much out of him. All right, you got Emmanuel Mudiay, but you could trade Mudiay. Like, that's the thing right there. If you draft Trae Young, you have solid trade pieces in Ntilikina or Mudiay to where you could get some value. And with the Knicks, it's just a matter of if you get a guy like Trae Young, I mean, you could be a pretty decent team if Trae Young turns out to be a solid player for them. So, I mean, we'll see there. But either way, with the Knicks, it's just a matter of you got to wait till Porzingis gets healthy, and you got to see what they get in the draft this year in order to determine whether or not they can start winning games and stop tanking. All right. I'm not going to talk about Brooklyn, obviously, because they don't even have their first-round pick. I mean, they're still a few years away from winning games and being competitive. All right, then we head over to the West. You got Phoenix. Phoenix is close to being a very competitive team, kind of like a Lakers team next year, if they get a guy like DeAndre Ayton and if they get a solid coaching staff and a head coach. All right, because then you'd have a guy like Elfrid Payton, who I like in Phoenix. You got Devin Booker, TJ Warren, DeAndre Ayton, and Josh Jackson. That's a very formidable young starting five there. All right. TJ Warren could play the 4. You could have Jackson play the 4. It doesn't really matter then because of the fact that basketball is moving more towards positionless basketball. All right. So if they were to get a guy like DeAndre Ayton, they'd be a team where it's like with Ayton, you got to worry about his defense a little bit, but it's just a matter of I think he's going to be a star in the NBA and I think he's going to be very good. So if the Suns were able to land him with the number 1 pick, if they get the number 1 pick, I think the Suns could, like I said, be like the Lakers next year as far as winning ball games and being competitive. Obviously, won't make the playoffs next year. I'm not that crazy, but it's just a matter of they'd have something finally. All right, then you got the Memphis Grizzlies. I think the Grizzlies are still a few years away from winning games and playing well. You got Mike Conley, who could be back next season. Marcus Gasol, I think, is on the back end of his career. You got Dylan Brooks, who might be something there. And now it's just a matter of who do you want? You want Bagley, you want Doncic, or you want Porter? So with the Grizzlies, it's just a matter of getting shooters and pretty much to start building a team rather than a little scrappy underdog they've been doing the last 7 or so years, I feel. With Dallas, when you got Rick Carlisle, there's always a way to win games. You got Dennis Smith Jr., who I think was a nice little pick this year. Harrison Barnes has played well for the Mavericks. Now it's just a matter of, I guess those are the two guys you build around. Wesley Matthews is hurt all the time. Dirk's going to retire after this year. So now you got to build up, grab a center, grab a 2 guard, and pretty much just got a full-on rebuild still. So the Mavericks are still years away from contending for anything or even making the playoffs or anything like that. Then you got Sacramento. And Sacramento is, I don't know, Sacramento's a weird basketball team. Because of the fact that you got De'Aaron Fox, you got Buddy Hield, you got Bogdanovich, you got Justin Jackson, you got Willie Cauley-Stein. All right, Frank Mason has been pretty good for this team so far. And you got Labissiere. I just named off 7 players who've been solid contributors for the team this season, and it's just they can't get over the hump. They can't turn into the Lakers, meaning they can't draft. Like, they've drafted well, I guess you could say. Like, this year was a big draft for them because I think most of their draft picks were hits. All right, but it's just a matter of they're not competitive and they're still on the bottom side of the NBA with the bottom dwellers, like I said, with the Hawks and teams like that. The Kings, this would have been the perfect draft for them to get a guy like Ayton. A guy like Ayton would have changed the franchise around and would have made them a way better team. Now I think it's just a matter of you're hoping maybe a guy like Michael Porter Jr. falls to you. You're not going to take a point guard because you got De'Aaron Fox already. I mean, I don't know really what solid 2 guards are out there, but it's just a matter of the Kings need that franchise-changing player, and I'm not sure they're going to get it unless a guy like Michael Porter Jr. drops to them, and the Kings are probably going to have around maybe the 7th, 8th pick, possibly, if they're lucky, the 6th pick, so it's just a matter of now they got to find that one player that changes it all, and I think just like the Suns, they're very close to being competitive like the Lakers are this season, all right? So we'll see about it, but that's going to wrap it up for this segment. Next up, we're going to talk about anything else going on in the world of sports, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
And welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. So far today, we've talked about yesterday's NBA games. We talked about Dez Bryant. We've talked about the teams that are currently tanking, which teams are closest to starting to win games as far as the years coming forward. And for this segment, we're going to talk about anything else going on in the world of sports. So let's get into it. Isaiah Thomas is going to be having surgery on his hip, obviously the one that's been injured. And with Isaiah Thomas getting surgery, obviously his season is going to be over. There's no reason for him to even try to come back. I mean, there's only about 7-some games left. Let's see. Lakers are currently played. Let's do some quick math. 73 games, only about 9 games played. So I highly doubt that he comes back. I think he's already out for the rest of the season, actually, now he's got surgery or whatever. But now it's just a matter of what's next for Isaiah Thomas. All right. Isaiah went from being one of the best players in the league last year, and I'm just talking about for this last season. I'm not talking about all time or in the league or anything like that. But let's be real here. Isaiah Thomas played very well last season and was probably the best point guard in the East, was one of the best point guards in the league last season, all right? Had one of the best offensive scoring seasons in Celtics history, was a monster for that team, helped get him to the Eastern Conference Finals, and, I mean, was out for the Eastern Conference Finals because of the fact that I think he had the hip injury, all right? So with that, here we are now. All right. Actually, let's go through. All right. So Isaiah Thomas has the great season with the Celtics. Offseason comes through. Hip injury is something that's been talked about, but it's like Isaiah's going to be back by a certain time for Boston or whatever. Then Kyrie Irving becomes made available. All right. I don't think anyone really thought of the Celtics as a possible destination for Kyrie Irving. I think, wasn't it the Knicks, the Spurs, the Sixers, I think it was, and another team. I can't remember exactly what 4 teams were looking for Kyrie. I know it was for sure the Spurs and the Knicks, but I can't remember the other teams. I think it might have been the Timberwolves possibly. I can't remember. But either way, those were the 4 teams. Then all of a sudden you see Adrian Wojnarowski tweet out the Celtics and Cavaliers are very close on a deal for Kyrie Irving. All right, not really sure what the deal was consisting of at the time. I'm sure we all had to think that it was Isaiah Thomas, possibly, maybe like a Jay Crowder. Maybe the Johnny Ainge was going to pull off some type of magic like he always did. And he did. All right, but either way, trade ends up happening. It's Isaiah, Jay Crowder, Ante Zizic, and the Brooklyn pick for Kyrie Irving. And Jay Crowder really never worked well with the Cavs, but this segment isn't really about him. All right, with Isaiah Thomas, he comes back for the Cavs, and it was pretty much like the Cavs were waiting. Because remember, the Cavs were struggling mightily, all right, before Isaiah came in. So it's pretty much we're going to wait for Isaiah to get back, and then we're going to see where we're at. We're going to see how well we play and all that. Isaiah comes back, and he just never meshes with the Cavs. All kinds of drama. You got reports coming out that when the Cavs had that players-only meeting or whatever, Isaiah called out Kevin Love for not being actually sick and missing a game and stuff like that. All right. And I'm not sure how true that is. That was just rumors and all. And Isaiah Thomas was pretty much, with Boston, he was the top. He was the alpha on that team. He was the leader. Okay. And I think when he got to the Cavs, I think he realized that LeBron was the leader of that team, but Isaiah Thomas is still trying to have some of that leadership qualities. All right, calling it out how it is, saying that the team wasn't showing enough effort on defense and all that. And it's true, they weren't. Everything Isaiah Thomas said was the truth. There was no lie about it or anything like that. But it's just a matter of you're going to a new team, you haven't even played all season, and when you're calling stuff out, they're really not going to like it. Because with the Cavs, I think a lot of them were a bunch of prima donnas, okay? You got And with them, it's just a matter of they got a certain culture. Okay, it's one thing going from the Celtics to the Cavs. It's going to be very different. All right, the Celtics obviously are a more distinguished franchise than the Cleveland Cavaliers. It is what it is. The Celtics are the ones with the championships and the type of culture. All right, the Cavs aren't. The Cavs have never really known what it's like to win until they won that championship, and even then, so they've only won the one, and that's it. All right, so it doesn't work out. He ends up getting traded to the Lakers for Larry Nance and Jordan Clarkson. Obviously, they sent over Channing Frye and all that, but Channing Frye didn't really matter. Didn't even really play for the Lakers at all. All right, and he played pretty well with the Lakers for the most part. Has had his share of bad games as of late, but I think that was more so with his hip now because of the fact that I think it's still been a lingering issue. All right, so here we are now. He's getting surgery, going to be out for the season. What's next for Isaiah Thomas? All right. I think Isaiah, he's not getting a max deal or anything close to it. I think he's a guy who's worth about 10, maybe 15 mil a year. I think that is max deal money, is it? No, I think it's like 25 would be max deal money. I think 10 to 15, I guess maybe more so 8 to 14 mil a year, I guess you could say, is what Isaiah Thomas could get. All right, like a 4-year, $48 million deal or something like that. All right, and now it's just a matter of who's going to give him that. Okay, and I was reading an article and it said that the Lakers, they're interested in bringing Isaiah back. All right, and with Isaiah, he did fit in pretty well with the Lakers, way better than he did with the Cavs. And I mean, I think if you've paid attention, if you watched, I think he's done well to mesh with the rookies and all that. All right, even with the other young guys like Julius Randle. Okay, I think Julius Randle and Isaiah Thomas, when they're on the floor, the Lakers are a very good team. I think their net rating is, I can't remember the stat I saw, I think their net rating is high and their plus minus is high. So they work well together. I mean, they got into it once and all that, but it's not really a big deal or anything like that. And it seems like Isaiah Thomas kind of understood his role with the Lakers. I'm the sixth man. I'm going to get around 30 to 35 minutes a game, and I got to pretty much like a starter off the bench, if that makes any sense. Okay, when Lonzo's not playing well, you got Isaiah out there. You can play them both at the same time. And you always have a smart point guard on the floor when you have Isaiah Thomas out there. All right, it's going to be Lonzo or IT running it, but either way, you know you're safe at the point guard position. So, I mean, it'd be a decent move for the Lakers to bring him back. Well, I guess it's just a matter of, are they going to be trying to go after LeBron? Okay, because Isaiah Thomas won't be signed by the Lakers until they figure out what's going on with LeBron, and I highly doubt that if they sign LeBron, you bring back Isaiah Thomas, because that just didn't work out. All right, and I'm not sure it ever will. Then you got teams like the Pacers possibly can be a destination, and I've been seeing more and more the Celtics name come up. Okay, and if I'm the Celtics and I can make a deal with Isaiah Thomas, I say why not and pull the trigger. All right, because Isaiah Thomas isn't going to be a starting point guard in the league unless he goes to a team like Indiana. All right, but like with teams like the Lakers and Celtics, they already got their point guards in Kyrie Irving and Lonzo Ball. But Isaiah Thomas could be a solid little option off the bench. But Celtics, I mean, we've already seen him come off the bench before when he first got traded there. Marcus Smart was the starting point guard at the time. But either way, I think Isaiah Thomas would be a nice little fit on the Celtics once again. And Brad Stevens has shown that he can get Isaiah Thomas to play at the level we all know he has before. All right? Brad Stevens go out and get Isaiah Thomas's shots and pretty much help him out. So that's a little option there. But yeah, I just wanted to mention Isaiah Thomas. Wanted to mention the fact that he's getting surgery and all that. It's going to be interesting to see what the market's looking like for a guy like that come free agency. All right, the NFL Rules Committee, kickoffs, they're saying that kickoffs are at risk of being taken away unless it's made safer or there's just less injuries. And if they take the kickoffs away, like kick returns and all that, then the NFL is just doing simply too much. And they really have no clue what they're doing, I guess. They need to take a page out of the NBA's book and learn there and stop trying to do too much. All right? The NFL is just such a poorly run, organized. I can't even say they're poorly run because they make so much money. But it's just, they're almost as bad as the NCAA. It's just so frustrating to see the moves that they make. Why would you they're trying too hard to make the game safe. Now it's just going to be, okay, you already did enough. I think they brought the targeting rule, and I didn't even know that till this morning. All right? But now it's just a matter of, let's play football, all right? Forget the injuries. Players should know what they're getting into already, okay? And if they don't want to get hurt, then don't play. All right? Find something else to do. But now it's just getting frustrated because of the fact that the NFL is trying too hard to make the game too safe, I feel. Don't take away kickoffs. All right? It's a fun little part of the game. You already moved up where the kickers kick for the kickoffs because of the fact that you wanted to limit injuries, and now you're just going to take them away altogether. All right? There's guys out here whose sole job is to return kicks. So we'll see about it, but I don't know. Like I said, the NFL is just trying to do way too much all the time. But let's make my picks for tonight's games. Let's get into that right now. All right, first up, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers facing off with the Charlotte Hornets. And I can't believe it. Charlotte's actually favored in this one. And that's kind of weird to see, actually. Like the Cavs, you normally would think that the Cavs would be favored in this one, wouldn't you? Let's see, who's hurt for the Cavs right now? Kyle Korver's out. I think Cedi Osman should be back soon. But, yeah, no real injuries for the Cavs here. I got to go with the Cavs. Vegas obviously thinks there's something good with the Hornets, but I'm going to go with the Cavs in this one. The Cavs did take a loss against the Heat yesterday, but I think they're going to bounce back today. Then we got the Nets facing off with the Magic. I'm going to go with the Nets. The Magic are just a terrible team. We got the Knicks facing off with the 76ers. All right, remember yesterday, we talked about yesterday, actually. Markelle Fultz had a decent game in his first game back. Going to be back playing today. See how well he does in this game against the Knicks. I'm going with Philly, all right? Then we got the Trailblazers facing off with the Memphis Grizzlies. I got Portland. Trailblazers are a bad team. Really nothing to talk about there. Then we got the Timberwolves facing off with the Hawks. Timberwolves are coming off of a bad loss to the Memphis Grizzlies. Think they're going to be able to pick it up. I got them winning that one. Then we got the Celtics facing off with the Jazz. Celtics been playing good basketball, but the Jazz been playing good basketball. Also, the Jazz are 24-12 at home. Celtics are 27-10 on the road. No Marcus Morris in this one. No Kyrie Irving still. Marcus Smart and Daniel Tice are probably going to, or Kyrie Irving's going to be out for the rest of the regular season. So I got to go with the Jazz in this one. Then we got the Clippers facing off with the Suns. Clippers got to win this one, obviously, so I'm going to go with them. And then we got the Lakers facing off with the Mavericks, and I got the Lakers. So pretty easy picks today, I feel. So I think my only upset pick is the Cavs, but to recap, I got the Cavs, the Nets, the Sixers winning, and the Trailblazers, the Timberwolves, the Jazz, Clippers, and Lakers. So yeah, only one upset pick, and that's the Cavs over the Hornets. And that's kind of weird to say, but nonetheless, it is what it is. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for today's show. Today we talked about the games from yesterday. We talked about Dez Bryant, talked about the teams currently tanking, which team is closest to winning games. And for this segment, we talked about Isaiah Thomas, the NFL Rules Committee trying to take away kickoff returns, and we made my picks for tonight's games. So thanks for listening to the GSMC Sports Podcast. We'll be, as always, I am your host, Jesse Tapia. We'll be back tomorrow, so stay tuned, and we'll talk to you later.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.